We've talked about This Is England, but let's do it again.
I mean, just in case if you don't know this already, and if not, where have you been? It's Shane Meadows' film about skinheads in 1983. Stars a young kid called Thomas Turgoose, who I think was 14 at the time they made the film, and his father has died in the Falklands War. He's looking for a sort of father figure. He gets taken in by a group of skinheads who at this point are these sort of, pre-BNP, pre-NF. They're multicultural. They're interested in reggae music. They're interested in, they're just a bunch of people. And what happens then is that the gang gets infiltrated by a new guy who comes very much from the right-wing side, and this kid's head is briefly turned, and he suddenly sees life from the other side of that fence. And it's about this summer that changed his life. I mean, I really like it. I love Shane Meadows' films anyway. I think Dead Man's Shoes is a terrific piece of work. The best thing about This Is England is that it doesn't just fall into the cliches of, all skinheads are Nazis. It is actually made by somebody who was a skinhead, who went through that, that period, and himself has admitted that during his time as being a skinhead, he ended up believing, albeit briefly, some things that were pretty repugnant. I have heard some people complain that by 1983, skinhead culture had already been infiltrated by the NF and the BNP, and that therefore what he's doing is a version of it which is slightly condenses the time scale. I'm going to forgive him for that because it doesn't bother me at all. I think that's absolutely fine. He has an extraordinarily compassionate feel for his characters. He wanted the film to have a 15 certificate because he thought that it had an important message for teenagers. As you know, the BBFC gave it an 18, but Bristol Council have overturned that. I don't think any other councils have, unfortunately. Bristol at least have. And I think he's a quintessentially British filmmaker. I think it's one of the most important British films of the year. I think it's his most confident work. It's a film that's made with compassion and real affection for those people, but also taking a very hard stare at Britain in that time, and making, albeit very subtly, comparisons between post Falklands War Britain then and the situation that we're in now, the need for something that looks like a cultural heritage, the need for people to find groups of people that they can ally themselves with. And I think it's in the tradition of all the best youth films, like Trainspotting, like Quadrophenia. It doesn't patronise its characters at all. It's not made by old blokes who just don't understand these people. It's not a youth-sploitation movie.
And Tomo Turgoose is a fantastic performer.
Isn't he?
I suspect you're going to see him in quite a lot of films.
He really is, terrific. And they found him, he's never acted before. As we heard, he wasn't allowed to be in his school play.
Yeah, he auditioned for an extra, and he got
turned down. Or something.